All right, so apparently I heard about this crash that had happened over this Rothschild's estate, which I had just heard before that there's all these arrests that are happening, and there is this Marines have landed at Langley or whatever. You know, I would have felt better if they would have said, or I had heard something like, Marines have landed at all particular whatever intelligence agency, whatever known headquarters and DUMBs, you know, or they call them deep underground military bases. That's what it stands for. That would be more appropriate for me, you know, because if you just say one place, well, that's probably, if you mention that to the public, they're only familiar with one particular headquarters, which is kind of like, oh yeah, we moved everything out to, let's just say, for example, you know, Colorado, or, you know, Wyoming or Utah, or, you know, somewhere. But yeah, they, you know, big move today because all the big land forces landed at the old barn, the old shack that we used to call our main home office. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Don't ask me, ask yourself. Be honest with yourself, and then you've got your answer. So that's enough right there to make me, I mean, when you first hear it, you're like, finally, you know. But, and I'm not over here sitting on my butt. Forgive my language, I'm sorry. Doing nothing either. I mean, even though I am I guess what's going on now, you know, 7 or 8 year victim in this thing, you know, at the very least, I'm doing what I can while I'm trying to, you know, help, you know, either myself or me and my family out of this, you know, which has just been nothing less than you know, a horrific nightmare, basically, this long. But besides doing that, I'm also helping do at least what I can for everyone else, you know. But that doesn't sound right. Now, before then, all these arrests are happening. Again, I did another segment on this. I haven't seen them. It sounds good when it comes over the airways, but this is the thing, people. My main message here is this: do not drop your guard and do not leave your homes for any reason. At a point and a time like this, when it's easier for someone to just scare you via a media device and say, leave your home and property, we want it. Well, you know, let's just say that when the time comes and I have to state my final story, I will honestly be able to say and happily say, regardless of what they did, I didn't surrender. I never consented, and I didn't leave. You know, what was done to me and my family well, let's just say there was many, several sets of laws, rights, constitutions, whatever, several sets of laws off several sets of either treaties or sets of laws or constitutions or however you want to call it, that were broken completely, just completely ignored and broken. And there's many other things that apply to this. I don't want to say too much about it right now because it's still kind of sensitive, but that's what I can say. And you just have to continue to be, as hopeful as possible, and do what you can. And, I think, well, I'm hoping, in the end, things will work out for everyone. But anyhow, going back to this, my main message here is this: just don't drop your guard, and especially at a time like this, I'm not going to say it, but I already know, as far as, ask yourself this, in other words, if your life, if you had to turn it into a military type situation now, which it actually kind of is, and if you were your own leader or whatever, where would you place things right now? Anything from DEFCON 5 up to DEFCON 1, how would you put it? I know where mine is. Actually, I'll just mention that the glass already broke and it already shot off somewhere. So that's how you can tell, okay? And so when I hear of all these arrests happening, I don't see any. Especially knowing after all these false flag events, or what I call false distraction events, because they're always doing something to distract you from what's actually happening while everybody gets away or passes a law through that is completely unconstitutional and bogus or whatever, which are actually not laws. That's another segment. That's exactly what I'm saying. But finally, when I heard this Rothschild crash happened on this estate, people, I don't know how many of you are putting this together, but this is what immediately went through my head. And then I had a screen come up that showed me, and this is where maybe other types of training come in, maybe, who knows, maybe it's somewhat of a divine message, who knows. All right, that's the way I'll put it. But I saw all these terms and numbers. It was a list from somewhere regarding something. This is a little too sensitive right now. I can't put this out. But here's what was it. Now, remember what's going through my head now. All right, and all the way across. Now, this did have to do, it had to do with that crash. But what I got from it, all along the top of that list, I saw 11, 11, 11, 11, all 11s. Not necessarily directly, but everything lined up perfectly. And I didn't have to, add those three minus that one back to this one, loop it around back under that one. No, it was very obvious. And there were coded figures below that. It was even stated to seemingly be some coded figures below that. People, you have to understand, these, whoever they are, whatever they are, beings I call them, one of their ways of communicating is through the media. It's not just like acting and all that crap. they use it to communicate as far as what I see. I have to throw that in there, just for whatever. But they use it for communicating, and it's very obvious once you understand it. 11. Think crash and crash. Crash and crash. Take care. All right, people, so if you put that in your minds and you think, if, just to make sure it wasn't, like, let's say you're part of that world and you want to make sure that nothing is BS, well, if you're told, all right, you'll know it when you see it, it'll come from the highest of high in their world, I'm saying. And it'll be indicative, or some people say indicative, but indicative. And there will be minimal coding accompanied with it to, limited, very limited, but spelling out the who is to do what, in what increments, and when, and whatever. Well, people, I really hope, look, this is, I am not, first of all, let me get one thing straight. I am no conspiracy theorist. I don't want anything to do with that world. And quite frankly, I agree with, and I hate to say it, even some people on, whatever side, by saying maybe those, the young, even if they're young, nerdy high school teenagers, maybe they could spend their time doing something a little bit better. But when it's something serious like this that you've been personally affected by and hard, all you can do is be vigilant and exercise extreme caution. That's all I'm doing. I'd rather be, enjoying things with my family or doing something I enjoy, not this, okay? So just to give you a very good understanding of where I'm coming from. But, okay, so this crash, it may be, okay, so it may be exactly what it seems like. Maybe. Maybe things would turn for the better and stuff, but see, people, one thing that I know they know is that when things seem okay for people who really don't care and they hear it's kind of working out for the better, they just go back to their normal whatever they were doing. After the events that have happened so far, I hope none of you do that. At the very least, stand guard for the next generation, okay? I think you owe it to them, because guess who did it for you? So, that being said, all I saw tonight was a crash that happens on the property of the highest of high in their world, with limited but coded features on an accompanying list that I happened to catch right below that, or accompanying that story, I should say. And with all these so-called arrests and these Marines that have landed, or forces that have landed at Langley or whatever, it just doesn't add up for me. So just in other words, just don't drop your guard. That's all I'm saying. Take care.